All right, so today I'm going to show you how to make this lovely chair right here. So in order to make this chair, you're going to need a variety of materials. You're going to need some 1x6s, you're going to need some 1x4s, you're going to need some 2x4s, carriage bolts, some screws all in assorted lengths. You're going to need a drill. You're going to need an impact driver. You could either use a circular saw or a miter saw. And you do not need a table saw, but a table saw will be very helpful for this project. Alright, so before we get started, let's just talk a little bit of safety. So it's very important that you wear your safety glasses. Also, make sure you wear your earmuffs. Alright, so first thing, we're going to work on this little section right here to work on the seat. And we're going to cut it out to 2 feet and 11 5/8 inches. So to do this cut, we're going to use the circular saw. Make sure to wear your eyeglasses and ear protection. And we're just going to mark our line and cut right through it. All right, so right now we're just going to work on the ends of our legs just so we make all the angles proper and the seat all lines up. And what we're going to do is we're just going to copy these lines right onto our 2x4s and cut it out. All right, so I'm going to do this cut on the miter saw. The miter saw is really nice because it cuts more accurately and it cuts a whole lot quicker, but all these cuts I'm showing you, you can do on the circular saw. So this angle right here is way too steep to cut on the miter saw. So for this one, we're going to have to use the circular saw. All right, so next we're just going to take these lines right on here and copy it down onto our piece of wood on the opposite end of what we've been working on. All right, so we're going to cut our shallow angles on the miter saw, and we're going to cut our steep angles on the circular saw, just like last time. All right, so next we're going to cut out the cross beam that connects both those legs that we just worked on, and we're going to cut it out to exactly 2 feet. All right, so now that we got this beam cut out, we're just going to lay our legs out like this. And now we're going to pre-drill the holes for our screws so we can actually screw this together. Just like that. We're just going to take our impact driver and just put our 1/2-inch screws right in the holes. Just right down flush. You should have something in the end that looks like this. All right, so now we're going to cut out our set of legs. We're going to cut 2 of them at 1 foot and 8.5 inches. All right, so now that we got both of our legs cut out, we need to figure out at what height to attach it to our chair. So we're going to take our tape measure and mark a line at 1 foot, 1 inch and 5/8 right here. And then when we go to attach it to the chair, we're going to make sure that line is lined up flush with this. We're going to secure it to our chair using lag bolts. So in order to use the lag bolts, or in order to secure the lag bolts, we're going to line this up with the line we just made. And we're going to have to drill the hole for us to fit the lag bolt in. So we're just going to drill the hole right here. And now that the hole is drilled, we can put our lag bolt in there and secure it down. All right, so now that we got our bolt in place, we're going to go to the bottom and we're going to put a nut and washer there. All right, so now we're just going to drill a second hole up on top of the first and just do the exact same thing. And now we're just going to do the same to this side. All right, so when you're done, your chair should be looking something like this. All right, so now we're going to work on the bottom boards for the chair. We're going to cut them out in they each need to be 2 feet long. So we're just going to mark 2 feet, cut, mark 2 feet, cut, mark 2 feet, cut, until you got 5 of them. All right, now that we got our 2-foot boards cut out, we're going to put them up on top of here. And we're going to pre-drill the holes. And then we're going to put screws in them. All right, so now that we got this one on, we're going to put the rest of the boards in behind it, just consecutively like this until we don't have any more than left. And we're going to try to ensure that we keep at least a 1/4 inch gap in between each board. So just make sure that we pre-drill each hole. So now we're going to be working on the backrest for the chair. So for the backrest, we are going to need to use our 1x6, and we're going to have to cut the 1x6 into 4 segments that are 3 feet long using the miter saw. All right, so now on just 2 of our pieces, we need to rip them down to 4 5/8 inches wide. So we're going to do that on our table saw. All right, so now we're going to cut out a support for the back braces. So what we're going to need is a 2x4, and we're going to cut it out at 1 foot and 9 inches. All right, so now with this back brace we just cut out, we're going to rip it to 2.5 inches wide. All right, so now we're going to attach our 1x6s to the 2x4 we just cut out. So first we've got to pre-drill our holes. We're going to drill 3 of them. We're going to put our screws in. All right, so now we're going to do the same to this side. We're just going to make sure it's flush back here. We're going to make sure it's flush back here, and then we're going to check with our tape measure. See that that's 10 inches apart there, and also go up here. Make sure it's 10 inches apart there, so we know it's square. And after that, now we're going to drill our holes and put our screws in. Now we're going to grab a 1x4 and cut out a piece to 1 foot and 9 inches. All right, so now we're going to rip our 1x4 to 2 inches wide. All right, so now we're going to take this 1x4 that we just cut out, and we're going to place it 10 inches down relative to this, 10 inches, 10 inches, and then we're going to take our clamps and just lightly clamp down on both sides. All right, so now we're just going to drill 1 hole on each side and put the screw in just to hold everything in place. All right, so now we're going to remove our clamps here. Since we got our 1 screw in place, just holding each side in, and we are going to finish drilling and putting screws in. All right, so now we're going to take our other 2 boards and we're going to line them up so that the gapping is even. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to pre-drill our holes and put all the screws in. I'll just... So now we're going to be cutting out the arms for our chair. So we're going to want to grab our 1x4 and cut 2 pieces out at 2 feet and 6 inches. So now we're going to cut out the crossbeam that goes behind the arms. So we're going to grab our 2x4 and we're going to cut it out at 2 feet 5 inches. We're going to cut our back support at a 30-degree bevel on the table saw. Make sure to use your push stick. Alright, so now we're gonna pre-drill our screw holes to connect the back support to the armrests. Alright, so now that we've pre-drilled our holes, we're just gonna put our screws in. We're gonna do the same to the other side. So when you're done, you should have something that looks like this. And now what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our tape measure and mark 3 inches back on both these arms on the bottom side. So 3 inches and 3 inches right there. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to line up the arms and the rest right here with that 3-inch line we just made. And then we're going to drill some holes and then screw it down. And just do the same to that side. We're going to grab some of our longest screws and we're just going to screw them in the holes that we just made. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're just going to place our backrest in here and we're going to make sure it's flush against the seat and also flush everywhere back here, pressed up against that. Once we ensure that, we're going to pre-drill 2 holes into here, right into that 2x4 right in there. And then you're going to want to do the same on the other side. Alright, now that we drilled the holes, we're just going to send our screws in. Make sure to do the same to that side. Alright, so now that we got this in place, we're just going to pre-drill some holes here so it lines up with this brace back there. And when that's done, we're going to send some screws in there. Alright, so now that we got all these holes pre-drilled, we're just going to send our screws in. Alright, and there you go. Chair's all done. It's a pretty sturdy garden chair. It'll be a great outdoor chair with many uses.